Hello, dear LinkedIn dwellers, customers, architects, engineers, anyone who's interested to get smooth sailing for their business when it comes to IT. Here we are. My name is Alex. His name is Boris. We're here to help you hopefully have a better day, better year, better life when it comes to IT. And specifically today, we're going to cover issues that most prevailing IT issues for architecture firms in 2022. I'll tell you how we got to those three, and then we'll tell you, Boris will tell you how to deal with them, how to fix them, how to not have them. But first, Boris, say hello to the fine people out on the internet.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, and thanks for being back with us. We've taken a little bit of time off, but yeah, we're now back and ready to help you solve your technology and IT issues.
2023 is the first LinkedIn Live. Now, as an IT company that services architecture, design, and engineer firms, okay, we have a database of tens of thousands of tickets that we have served over 2022, let's call it last year. And we gave one of our interns, well, he's more than an intern, a task. Say, hey, can you give us top 3 issues that sort of repeat themselves more than anything else in this vast database? What happened then, Boris?
And then he got the results.
Well, that wasn't that smooth. Okay, let's not just like, okay, so working with data, and we have our own thing on ChatGPT. That's did we publish ChatGPT episode?
Yeah, I think we did.
All right, it's about ChatGPT, written by ChatGPT for architects. That's gonna be kind of cool. Check that out. But anyway, with not having enough credits on ChatGPT to upload all the database there, plus security issues, what have you, we've manually gone through the database, combed it all, resorted, and finally the intern gave us the top 3 issues. Boris validated, and here we are. Okay, so the 3 issues are: number 1 issue that most of you are having and want to help with probably is new employee onboarding. Yeah, it only sounds like it's important when you have a new person coming in, but it also means onboarding partners, onboarding any outside I guess project participants and so on and so forth. But more importantly, I guess employee onboarding. Second issue you're having the most often is problems with the remote access, whether it's Wi-Fi or getting into your files. And number 3, you guessed it, it's printing plotting. Actually, that's a big one. In fact, Boris and I just had that own issue ourselves. I mean, my printer just prints. It's got a mind of its own. And yours not even hooked up.
Mine is not hooked up, no.
That's a shame.
But I do have a new printer at the house that is hooked up and is working. And that's why this one is not hooked up and is at the office.
There you go. There's always a reason, right? But hey, so we're going to help you address all those. Let's dive right in. Before we go like deeply into this stuff and actually give you the solutions, or at least ways to think about these particular IT problems, how to solve them, please type in your own IT problem. If one of the 3 we covered is not something you face every day, punch it into the chat. Let us help you with it. Okay, let us at least talk about it and see if we can be of service. But number 1, Boris, is new employee onboarding. What is the challenge that you see, and how do you recommend people smooth that out?
I think planning is the biggest thing, and we always talk about planning in these in these meetings, in our videos, but specifically for bringing new people aboard, planning to actually bring them aboard ahead of time, knowing that you're going to be bringing people aboard, right? Have a position open and somebody's going to come in, whether it's a month from now or 2 weeks from now, you still kind of have that idea in your head. So you need to have a plan initially and know what this person is going to require once they come aboard. And usually they need a computer to work from.
Really?
They need a set of software that they're going to be using. They need some sort of training on either those specific tools, your architecture tools possibly, or just training in general on your systems, how this stuff get done, systems and workflows. So planning for all of those things ahead of time and having some sort of checklist that says, okay, we're a firm of 20 people, we're bringing on another person. These are all the things that need to happen. Is very important. I think that's like the first thing we see when we talk to prospects is the problem of onboarding, and a lot of it has to do with planning and either them not fully planning properly internally or kind of in collaboration with their IT provider, not having that plan.
All right, so it's having a checklist for onboarding your employees. We've kind of hammered that point home over the years, but that's still the important piece. But what's some of the more, well, before we go there, we just made offers to we hopefully gifted engineers ourselves. Are we prepared for everything you just discussed? Do we have laptops for them? Do we have a checklist for them? Is it all in line, or this is going to be a scramble of a lifetime?
It's not going to be a scramble because we do have a checklist, which reminds me, I ordered laptops yesterday. I need to check on statuses of those orders. But yeah.
But that's a good, right? It's 2 weeks ahead of time. They just signed their offers. And we should get laptops in time and set them up in time before the engineers get to their chairs, so to speak.
And
here at
for us, it's easier, maybe a little easier. Although I think some of the issues we had with laptops and delivery are kind of have slowly gone away now. But I mean, it's easier for us because we don't require engineers to have high-level hardware in order to do their jobs. For our audience, though, for architects and engineers, where their people need to do, Revit, CAD, and requires additional graphics processing power, those laptops may not always be as easy to get as 3-4 days. So you want to, again, kind of plan ahead, knowing that you're going to hire that person, buy that computer. It's not gonna, you still know that you're going to hire somebody if it doesn't happen within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, within a month or 2 months. So that computer just being there, it's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, from the business owner to business owners out there, or anyone responsible for running a business, it's kind of hard to allocate expense. You always kind of just try to put that to do aside, and just you think, oh, we'll get to it. What happens is you're gonna have somebody sitting around for 2 weeks if there are delays in shipping that computer. So yeah, get that.
Or they're gonna be using an inferior machine, older machine, and that's just gonna degrade. Degrade their experience as an employee coming on board with your company. To me, you want to show your best foot forward when you bring a new person on. So you want them to be fully set up, fully ready, and starting that first day with a smile and not have any issues. Obviously, there may be some little things here and there, but you want to have all the basics in place.
The last thing I'm going to say about this topic is, and unless we have questions in the chat, I don't know, can you see chat? I'm trying to see if I see it. I don't know if I do.
I need to get in here.
It's been a minute since we've been doing this, but last thing I'm going to say is, look, macroeconomy, right? Macroeconomic events. The unemployment is super low right now. We have to compete for talent. We have to compete hard for talent, and giving your new person a great experience when they start with your company is pretty much essential right now. It's essential always, but it is basically an absolute must today in this economy. Hold on, let me see. There's some questions on the chat. Boris, can you see the question?
Yes, there's actually a few questions.
How do I see those? You go ahead and answer one. I'm gonna figure out how to look at those. Man.
So Patricia and Lorraine, welcome. So how much lead time is ideal for laptop orders? Again, I think right now it's gotten a little quicker, but still, you want to plan at least 2 weeks out. Like if we order something 2 weeks out and it's in stock, we'd get it 1 week before, and then we can configure it and turn it around in 24 to 48 hours. But if you have more lead time, the more lead time is the better. That would be the rule of thumb. I mean, you could probably, like for some lower end systems, we can get it into stock within maybe 3-4 days, but that's not always the case. So you still want to have at least 2 weeks or more to get it. And then Patricia made a comment about, she just ordered monitors, and it took about 5-7 days to get from CDW. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're seeing. If it's in stock, you will probably get it within a week. But a lot of times, again, these not the special machines, the workstation level machines that we order for designers are not always in stock, or that particular model is not always in stock. Like there's a machine, but it doesn't have enough memory, or there's a machine that doesn't have enough hard drive space. So we want to make sure that more lead time to actually get the proper specs, so that the new team member can do their work.
Yeah, very good. So there's another comment by Patricia. I just ordered. Yeah, okay, we saw that. All right, let's keep going at it. All I'm going to say, the last thing I'm going to say is, ladies and gentlemen, we have to compete on competence right now. We're competing for talent. Let's do it right. Let's make sure those onboarding issues are minimized or removed. I think that's one of the core operational challenges for the businesses in this year. All right, let's keep going. Next, and I guess I just want to ask the audience, if you do have specific issues outside of what we're covering, pop them into chat and we'll address them. I guarantee you we saw them before, right? And we've solved 1 or 2 of them, or maybe 200. Anyway, problems with remote access. So can you define this? This is the second one we're touching now. Can you define this? Can you scope this out a little bit and talk about how to address it?
I guess, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So
sorry, I was thinking about the onboarding and seeing if I wanted to say something else, and I completely missed it.
That's great. No, it's very human of you. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You're humanizing the LinkedIn experience for every one of us.
Also
Thank
shows
you.
how much I'm listening to it.
Thank you. No, it's fine. It was really fine because we kind of shifted fast. But the problem we've identified that most architects have had and we had to deal with is problems with remote access or Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah. So let's go. I think there's kind of 2 topics in there, but let's start with remote access. So many of the firms that we support still require access to resources on premise because they still store files and host some of the services in their office, right, on the servers. A few firms have, or more than a few firms have already migrated to kind of being fully cloud-based, which is great. But some firms still require remote access. And I think the way to kind of look at it is twofold. You mentioned Wi-Fi connection issues. So basically, a lot of times, what happens with remote access problems is some sort of home connectivity issue or issue at a place where they're trying to work from. And most of the time it's work from home. It could also be working from a coffee shop or something like that. And in those instances, a lot of times it's about making sure that your home internet is working correctly and is able to accept your connection from your laptop over Wi-Fi. And even though some of your other devices are working fine over Wi-Fi, your work laptop, or specifically the remote access methodology that you're using, whether remote desktop or VPN, may not be passing through your modem. So we've seen those a lot over the past year, just because people have older modems at home, like Comcast modems or AT&T. Generally, just restarting the modem fixes most of these issues.
Restarting the modem. So there you have it.
Easy.
Most valuable lesson for today. No, seriously. So when some of those things, can you give me some other potential problems? Because I know we've taken a lot of calls on this issue, and obviously people hang up the phone with a solution in place. But what's some of the other things besides restarting a modem? Which is, I don't know, you laugh or not, you're absolutely right. Modem or router, man, that's the first thing you do. Although as soon as I restart my router at home, I hear like the groundhog heads start popping up. My kids, I was like, what are you, internet's not working, Dad, the internet's not working.
Right. So yeah.
But outside of that restarting, what else have you seen?
So we, many of our clients have issues with accessing remotely because the password of the network expired, right? So sometimes we have to make sure that when we get a notification about password expiring, when you're sitting on your work computer and you're working and you get a pop-up saying, hey, your password is going to expire in 14 days, please change it. We actually go in and change it, because if we forget, then when we try to access remotely on the day that the password actually expires, then you're not going to be able to get in. And you just have to give us a call, we'll reset your password, and you're back on your way. Additionally, we're putting in, we have special security measures to make sure that for remote access, it's always authenticated through two-factor authentication. Sometimes there's issues with those apps as well.
Yeah. Patricia, we call them interns, and it's legal.
What's the question?
The question is, wait, unpaid child labor for IT works? Yeah, it does. Okay. No, but they're on iPads watching, playing Roblox or what have you, whatever the kids do these days. Anyway, so that's good. Please type your questions into the chat if you want to get more specific answers, more technical. Hopefully we don't have to get too technical here, because everybody else will get bored, including me. But next, if we could shift, I don't have a good segue for this one, except to say that there's one quick break, I'll tell you. We're working through a project right now that requires a bank loan. And one of the things that Boris and I were dealing with today is wet signatures and stuff like that. So I just tell you, like, printing issues are real, but this is a hot commodity these days. I mean, I had no idea they still make them. I was so lucky one of my daughters had one. We needed a whiteout for this one document that, required wet signatures, wet everything. And man, am I glad to have this in my daughter's drawer. So, sometimes we need those analog tools to do our business, and printing is one of them. I guess there might be digital printers, but we need analog outputs out of those devices. So can you tell me what specifically is the major cause of printing plotting issues and how to solve them?
Well, a lot of times, I think most printer issues and plotting issues are fixed by reinstalling the printer or updating the drivers on the printer. I think most of the issues we've seen across the board last year were because either the driver hasn't been kept up to date, or there are specific conflicts with the newer operating system but running the older driver. There's also, in 2021, Microsoft had this issue called the printing nightmare, which they tried to fix or make printing more secure. And that lingered on into 2022 as well, where they broke basically network printing for a lot of people. So we had to deal with that too. It requires some additional registry settings to make sure that they get fixed. But for many of our clients, it's about the drivers, and also I think all of them use some sort of accounting software to make sure that any in-house printing, or at least plotting, gets charged back to the project and charged back to the customer. So we've seen a few issues with those accounting software as well. Usually working with whoever the provider is for the printer whether it's Arc, Bayprint, or any other company that provides that printer and plotter, helps fix, we work with them to get those issues resolved. And sometimes it's reinstalling the software for the accounting. Sometimes it's basically upgrading the machine that runs the accounting app. So those were kind of all major fixes that we've performed, but the biggest one is probably making sure the drivers are up to date.
So if someone does not have IT support or, wants to do preventative stuff, is there anything like keeping the drivers updated? I mean, who thinks about that stuff?
Nobody does. And, in our world of automatic updates, we're kind of assuming that they get updated automatically, but they don't always. So, the real way to get the printer driver to update is either manually know that you need to update it, or it's uninstalling and reinstalling the printer. When you reinstall the printer, Windows tries to look for the new driver on the internet and pull it down.
Gotcha. Yeah. Very, very good. So with that said, those are the top 3 issues. What have you been facing? Let's let's go ahead and answer your questions. We got a few more minutes here that we're happy to share some knowledge and kind of maybe point you in the right direction, if not give you an outright answer. If it gets too technical, you can always reach out to us. We're getarcit.com on the internets. And if you just click contact, feel free to send us a question. People have been sending us questions. We've been saying that it's quite great. We're happy to answer and help out. We don't need to be necessarily talking to you about full IT service. We can just help with questions, and that's how we do things, trying to be helpful. So any other issues, those of you who are out there on the live stream, if you have any other IT issues that you haven't got resolution to, or it keeps repeating themselves, pop them into chat. We'll give you a minute or two. Boris, what's the latest? Oh, hold on. We got Patricia, quick question. Is VoIP versus cellular connection via the computer? Do you need more context? I think I need more context. I'm not.
Can you, let's see, what's the question? Are we waiting for more?
No, read the question.
I don't, for some reason, I don't see it. Like,
oh, okay. Sorry, you're waiting for me?
Yeah, I was waiting for you because it's weird. Like, I saw them before and now they're not refreshing. So I don't know. Like,
all right. So Patricia said
technical company having technical difficulties, as always.
It's not us, it's LinkedIn.
Yes, exactly.
A quick question: is VoIP versus cellular connections via the computer? Some new versus old service desktop, the telephone service through the computer connects to VoIP. I'm not, do you understand the question? Or
yeah, so I mean, if we're looking for, I guess, I mean, I'm gonna use my own interpretation of this question, and then Patricia, you can let us know if you need more details or take a different direction. I guess what I'm thinking of is, you want to know, should we be using cell phones, or is it better to continue just using cell phones as opposed to VoIP phone system for business? So to me, right, like we have a VoIP phone system. We use Microsoft Teams as our VoIP phone system. So basically any calls come into Microsoft Teams, and then they get routed to appropriate people. So the people can pick it up either on their computer. They can also have an app on their phone, the Microsoft Teams app on their phone, or they can, on their mobile device. So they can use it as a cell phone, but it goes over voice over IP, doesn't count their minutes, just their data. And also it shows you when a business call comes in, right? It's a separate app that rings. So it's different than just forwarding a business call to your mobile phone. It's actually the app that rings on your mobile phone. And then the last piece that some people still want is you can have a physical phone device, either from Polycom or somebody else or Cisco, connected to that phone system as well.
Does Microsoft Teams does Microsoft Teams has the routing technology on the back end of it?
Yep.
Like you can record a message and you can send, is it
Yeah.
multi-line? How does that work as far as number of lines? Is it kind of like unlimited lines, or what if like 6 people call at the same time? How does that work?
Well, so basically, I mean, your standard features are caller ID, call waiting, voicemail to email, right? So it would be just like your any basic phone system. And the way it works is each individual who needs to have an extension gets a license, and basically they have a direct number that they can be dialed into from outside, or we can have the call routed. So if somebody calls the main number, then you can have like a company directory and the call gets routed.
Gotcha. But each person needs to have a license.
Correct. Absolutely.
Is it the Office license or it's a Teams license? Teams license different?
It's a separate Teams voice license. So yes. And
what is the cost
about,
of something like that?
It's about $20 a month.
Per
Yes.
extension?
Mhm.
Just for the voice feature of the app.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And it rings on, can it ring on a physical phone, or it just it needs a mobile phone, needs an app?
So yes, it can ring on a physical phone. So you can buy like a Polycom device that's about $120, $130, and it can be configured to work with the Teams voice.
Wow, I think I'm very interested in that for my own purposes for this other business I have, because can you currently use AT&T VoIP, and that's an expensive nightmare. Just configuring settings is just unreal. It's just I don't understand how they manage to make it so complicated. But I guess it's software update on top of software update on top of software update on top of software update since 1960.
Right. Basically, the AT&T is, they kind of club together multiple solutions, and then they put on top of it, they put like a user interface. But yeah, I mean, it's really slow. Just the management interface of it is so slow. Like we've had customers who use them before, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just getting, yes, very slow getting set up. And I'm not knocking AT&T. Actually, AT&T's gotten better. I don't know what you guys think about AT&T, and it's not the subject of the podcast, but I'm actually quite impressed with how they've leveled out as far as customer service. Like they're not Comcast level. I think they're above, but it's still utility. So, what do you expect? So actually, I'm very interested in Teams. I'm wondering, do a lot of our customers actually run Teams VoIP systems, or people are kind of on different systems? What's the most common one people use?
For our customers, so we have 4 customers on Teams. We still have a few customers that still use the older analog phone systems, the big things that sit in the office.
What big thing?
Well, the analog phone system, if you remember, well, I don't know if you've ever had one in some office that you were part of, but yeah, it's like this thing that takes up the whole wall, and it's made of multiple modules, and then yeah, you have like wires coming out and so on.
It's like a box, right? It's like a box with all of the.
It's a big box.
Oh, I have that.
Okay,
I have that at the shop.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's it. Huh? So I'm using that. Yes.
Well, I don't know if you're using it because your AT&T phone system is supposed to be.
Oh, I'm not using it. Right. It's just there. Right. No, it's VoIP. It is VoIP. So now, what is, in your opinion, I know we're shifting gears a little bit, but I think if we can leave with some sage advice on the phone systems, that'd be great, because people don't think about it, but it's important. People still want to talk to other people. And your employees need access to business phone. They don't want to use their cell phones, specifically their plans. Anyway, so what is your recommended phone service?
Well, we have
companies 20 to 25, 30 people size.
We have a few options. I think if you are a Microsoft shop and you're already using Teams for a lot of other functionality and using, the Microsoft Office 365, having your phone system integrate with the tool that you're already using is, basically, like, that would be my recommendation, right? Because it just makes things so much easier, and it's an interface that people already used to.
So it works pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically right. So Microsoft bought Skype, then they had Skype for Business, and then they made it into Teams, right? So this is Skype technology on the back end of it.
Bundling at its best.
Yes, bundling at its best. And then, so for others, and we also a reseller of a system called 8x8, which is a little less expensive. I think it runs about $15 a month. I mean, not a huge difference, but for somebody it could be. And that's also pretty good. So if you're not Microsoft integrated, you can be using that system, and it has very much the same features. Everything we just talked about, phone routing, caller ID, call waiting, voicemail to email. Yeah, so
Multiple extensions.
Yeah, everything that we talked about with Teams, these guys do as well.
And how much is is there particular hardware you recommend? Because that's kind of running into issues with physical hardware. Like I want to have physical phone. I don't want people answering their cell phones.
Yeah, look at Polycom. So Polycom, PVX. Honestly, I don't remember the models off the top of my head, but it was like I think there are 211s, and those are kind of the low end 2-line phones, which should be pretty good for just your regular application.
All right, cool. Well, that was great. Thanks, Patricia. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And those of you who stuck around, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Those of you watching recording, thank you very much. Hopefully this helped you out. If it didn't, go to getarchit.com and click contact or work with us. I think that's what we call it. Submit your question, complaint, feedback, and let us help you out, or otherwise at least get some feedback on what if you find this useful. Any parting words of wisdom, Boris?
Just enjoy the day.
Let's enjoy the day, make it productive. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time.
See y'all.